Alright, the question today is, can you beat Borderlands 2 with only the Slowhand? The mods that I'm using are the Better Travels mod, which lets you fast travel out of your inventory, the Loot Marker mod, which marks legendary drops, and the BL2 Fix mod, which just gives some quality of life changes and makes the game more enjoyable. Moving next to the loot. I have a Slowhand in every element, corrosive, fire, shock, and slag, a normal purple shield, a slag crossfire, deputies badge for shotgun buffs, and finally just a legendary gunzerker mod. I realized about halfway through this run this relic is useless because the guns are Hyperion, not Tourge. I also never used the B. The rules for this run: I need to beat the story and touch the vault key, no bars allowed, and I can only use the Slowhand and the other items I showed. Now, let's just get into the gameplay. The Monglets were getting destroyed, but the Bully Rot was a little more healthy. I was able to take him out after a few clips. Here's my skill tree. The Slowhand is a pretty decent weapon when there are a lot of low health enemies. It just doesn't do too great against bosses. This run would have been 100 times harder if the Slowhand wasn't a Moxie weapon. What this means is I get 3.5% of my health back from the damage I deal to enemies. I killed the last bandit and cleared out Liarsburg. You know how Claptrap is, bro just does his own thing. I turned in the mission to Hammerlock and flipped the switch just a few times. Claptrap wanted to show me, so I took a look at the beautiful bandit camp. Trust me, I wouldn't have done this, but Claptrap told me to blow up the bandit camp, so I did. And then I blew myself up. But I was able to get a second wind. At this point, it was just a cycle of going down and then getting right back up. Now, it's time for the boom boom fight. It started off with me doing a little bit of damage to both of them before he hopped in the tank. I should have just focused on one of them, but once he was in the tank, I started shooting at him and then switched my focus to shooting at the little one. The tank blew me up and I was so close, but I just couldn't get the second wind. Running it back, I learned absolutely nothing from last time and died again. For my third attempt, I tried a new way of dying and blew myself up. I backed Little Boom into a corner and was steadily killing him. I got a bit ahead of myself and ended up going down to the tank again. Rewatching this clip, I genuinely have no idea what I was shooting at. I went ahead and died one more time for good measure. My palms were sweaty and Boom had such little health left. And on the 6th attempt, I killed him. Let's go. He also dropped a bonus package which I can't use. Now it's time for Bertha. I was gonna use the oldest strat in the book, slowly running around it so it can't shoot me. This was working pretty well and I was doing okay damage until I ran out of ammo. I went down and got back up, but now I just need to wait for my ammo to come back. After a few minutes, I got Boom out of his cannon and it was time to end the fight. Boom barely had any health left, but my gunzerk ended at the worst time and I ran out of ammo. I got my gunzerk back, shot Boom once, and then shot him again for the kill. Another bonus package from him also. I hopped in the cannon and absolutely sent Claptrap to the moon. Don't worry, I found him like 2 seconds later, but we were both on the ground now. I started shooting at all the guys playing kick the can until I finally saved Claptrap. Killed all the guys up on the way to Flint as well. I pulled the Subaru WRX up, and now it's time for Flint. Well, the first attempt ended in death. The second went about just as well. And on the third run, Flint killed me. On the fourth run, Flint killed me and then teabagged me. There was no way I was gonna let this slide. I went down, but there's no way I was dying. As soon as I got up, I punched Flint off of his ship. I shot at him a couple times for good measure, and then I dropped down and just started unloading rounds into him. I really don't think this kill would have been possible, just with how much health Captain Flint has and how little damage the Slowhand's doing. I kinda just had to turn him into a punching bag. I bought some ammo, and he was getting low. I kept shooting him, and then the unthinkable happened. I dropped down and accidentally blew myself up. Flint was so low, and I was so close to killing him. I just bled out instead. There was really nothing I could do. Second time's the charm, and after unloading about 400 bullets into him, he died, and he dropped me a Thunderball Fist also, which I can't use. I said hi to Claptrap, and then set sail. I picked up the adapter, put it in the catcher ride, and then made the first jump easy, first try, let's go. First step was picking up the Echo. Next, I completely blew up Reese. He would have been fine until I mag dumped and threw grenades at him. I blew up some psychos next and grabbed the power core. Plus, I didn't even go down. Me and Jessup had a bit of an awkward interaction. Thanks, man. I picked up 1, 2, 3, put one in, put the second, and there's the third. I grabbed the key from the guard, gave myself a concussion, and then headed in. It's time to go fight the Firehawk, who is totally a guy. I made it to O block where a guy got shot right in front of me. I was running at super speed, about to hit the skip first try. The sun was in my eyes, so I hit it the second time. I found the Firehawk, and it was Lilith. No way. I grabbed the Iridium and hit an insane 360. I only went down once this whole fight, and Lilith stole the kill from me. With the assist from Lilith, I ended the fight pretty easily. I turned in the mission, now it's time for Roland. I hopped in the Rainbow Whip and honked a few times, but they wouldn't let me in. I wonder why. I talked to Ellie and immediately ran away. It was pretty easy to blow up the cars with the Slowhand. I got the first tire and then got ran over. The last car also did a drive-by on me, but I was able to kill them and get the last piece. The BL2 fix mod is so nice for times when you need to fast travel quick. I rolled up in a more manly rainbow truck this time, and guess what? They let me in. Now it's time to fight Bad Maw. I took his shield off pretty easily, but his health bar is a bit tankier. I got him down to about half his health before I went down. I focused on the bandit instead of him and was able to get up. I went down again, but Bad Maw was even lower this time. It came super close, but I was able to kill him. I grabbed the key, and he dropped me a pitchfork. 360 time into Bloodshot Stronghold. This area was surprisingly easy because of the healing and the splash damage from the Slowhand. I sped this section up. I went down 1, 2, 3 times within 15 seconds, but made it through the middle part first try. Mad Mike didn't stand a chance, but he got melted. I just sped through this next section trying to get to Roland as fast as I could. Oh no, Warden got away. You know what time it is, 360. I ran through this horrible map and made it to the save point. Alright, now we're to the part I was worried about. It's time for the Warden fight. With the mix of other loaders shooting at me, it was gonna be rough. Its shield got stripped off pretty quickly, but the health bar was another story. The Warden is an actual tank. I died, and the best course of action was to quit. This was the closest I'd got to killing Warden before dying so many more times. Here's my second save quit. The fight was going well until my ammo ran out with 1/4 of its health left. Oh yeah, and I died again. I needed to get full ammo before fighting Warden again. It didn't matter, I died again. The fight was so close to being over, however the cargo ship that takes Warden to the gulag was flying over. The fight is much harder there, so I had to just save quit. After that attempt, I wasn't going to lose the fight again. I went down, but got an easy second wind. I put a few more mags into Warden before finally ending the fight. I turned in the mission, and now it's time for Wilhelm. Made it to Tundra Express with no 360 this time. I was able to use only 1 shot to light the Varkids on fire. I then met Tina, and this guy she tied up. Speeding through the next part, I grabbed 1, 2. I gave them to Tina and picked them right back up. I got onto the roof and waited for the train to blow up. Now I'm to the end of the line. If you blow yourself up without moving and then bleed out, you'll spawn right next to Wilhelm. It's a pretty good time save. It's time for the Wilhelm fight. Supposedly the strongest Vault Hunter, who almost once killed Lilith, Roland, and all of New Haven. I got him down to half health by blowing up surveyors and shooting him when I wasn't. I took my first down, but it was easy to just blow up a surveyor to get a second wind. Wilhelm's shield was also extremely easy to break. I just slowly kept chipping at his health. I was running low on ammo and he was running low on health. I used the last full clip to end the fight, and I beat him first try. After killing knockoff Cyborg from Teen Titans, I headed back to Sanctuary with the Power Core. I'm gonna go through the next part pretty quick because this is the most boring part of the game. I put in the new Power Core, someone exploded in front of me, I ran Roland's pockets for the Iridium, gave it to Lilith, then I got teleported and needed to get back. I turned in the mission, made it through the fridge without going down. I smacked the Thresher with the fire Slowhand, and made it through the absolute worst part of the game and back to Sanctuary. Oh good. I put on a new helmet and now it was time to head to the Wildlife Preserve. The 360s are back. I talked to Mordecai and left immediately. I had the easiest time ever injuring loaders because of how little damage the Slowhand does. Now it's time for the loader and stalker fight. It took me a while to get through all the little enemies, but I took no downs. The badass stalker was a joke and died super quick. The loader on the other hand was destroying me, so I took my first down of the run, and a few more downs. It took me about 15 minutes. I was finally able to get him low enough and finish the fight. Oh no, Bloodwing got moved. Surely nothing bad is down this elevator. The Bloodwing fight was something I was worried about, but at the same time, I have every element of gun, so there wouldn't be one phase where I'm stuck doing no damage. Shock against the fire phase was doing the most amount of damage. I was also trying to keep at least one Skag alive so I could get a second wind if I went down. Now it's time for the shock phase. You know how I talked about saving Skags? Well, Bloodwing killed them, so I died. I was back to the electric phase again and made sure to keep the Skags alive. It took me a bit, but I finally got Bloodwing's health down. Now it was time for corrosive. Fire and Slag were doing the most damage, and this was the easiest phase so far. This phase took me less than a minute when the whole fight took me over 45. When I first played Borderlands 1, I was around 10, and I chose Mordecai. So when I played this game around a year after that, seeing Bloodwing's head explode made my 11-year-old self traumatized. I hit Claptrap with an uppercut, turned in the mission to Roland, and grabbed his playdate invitation. I had to test out Face McShooty even though I knew the Slowhand can't crit. There's no way to shoot him in the face. I dropped into the Slab King's castle, and the first thing I did was shoot at the Goliath. The Slowhand was a pretty good gun for this area. It melted through the weak enemies easily. I was done in less than 5 minutes. If you can even believe it, Brick was the Slab King. The way the sarcastic slab died was by an elemental explosion. Corrosion! Brick punched the first shield, I blew it up. Brick punched the second shield, I blew it up. I'll let you guess what happened to the third one. The whole gang was back together, and now it's time for Jack's body double. I made it into opportunity and hit the save right by fake Jack. This fight is either the easiest thing in the world, or it takes 30 minutes to get the run where you're able to kill him. It's best to try and get a second wind off of someone who isn't the body double. This Jack has a few annoying things, such as instantly gaining his shield back, and then running away like a coward when you're down. This attempt was going good until I blew myself up, and then Jack runs away. I died again. This time I had a new strat. I got up on top of the building and started shooting at Jack from a ways away. I broke his shield and was now just chipping his health. If you're struggling with this fight, wait for Jack to run over here and sit on the roof with his sniper. After I slid off the roof, he kinda just stood there and let me shoot him. I finished the fight in around 20 minutes and picked up the pocket watch. Here's me getting all the samples. I uploaded them to Angel and grabbed the voice modulator. I talked to BMO and it's time to head to the bunker. This skip is the easiest in the game, and it saves a good minute. The gate was opened, and now it's time for the next challenge of the run, the first constructor. The Slowhand was doing baby amounts of damage, so this was going to be a long fight. I took my first death from the laser beam. The laser is too deadly. I went down again from the same thing the second time. I had nothing around me and died again. I made two changes in my strategy, the first being getting kill skills off of a surveyor, which in turn lets me do more damage to the constructor. And the second is I hid down behind these stairs and would just jump up to shoot at the constructor. I got a bit too cocky and blew myself up here. Again, I had nothing to save me and took my third death. I was not about to die a fourth time, so I focused up. However, I ran out of ammo at the worst time. After hiding under the stairs a bit longer, I made my way back up with more ammo and ended the fight. Now it's time for the sad reality of the run. Some of you might already know these turrets aren't affected by splash damage. The Slowhand can only deal splash damage, so it's impossible to kill them with only the Slowhand. I knew this before the run started, so we're gonna have to use something else. My first thought, I tried to deal damage by throwing my grenades up, which didn't work. I then went down and tried to punch them, but with OP10 scaling, there's no way I could kill them like this. To keep this somewhat fair, I ran and grabbed the first gun I found. I threw on the B shield that I'd been keeping for this moment. I was able to kill the first turret, and then blew the second one up as well. I dropped the gun as soon as I finished and put back on the purple shield. Now I know this wasn't a perfect Slowhand only, however I would have had to end the run here. There is no way to kill these turrets with splash damage. The second constructor was much easier than the first. Even though its health bar was over twice as much, you can just sit in this spot without taking damage. I was low on ammo and just kept whittling down its health. There was no ammo to buy near me, and I didn't want to die after 15 minutes of sitting and shooting. And with one more reload, I was finally able to end the fight. And now it's time for the bunker. The autocannons were relatively easy to kill. It only takes 2 to 3 clips per turret. I went down, but I was able to kill the 10th cannon. And then the 11th one. Now it's real bunker time. I dropped down, and I'm gonna stay under here for the full fight. The only thing I needed to worry about was bunker launching explosives at me, but his blue lasers barely do any damage. Skipping forward about 10 minutes later, bunker barely had any health left, and staying under here was easy. I popped out once he was low, dealing the last bit of damage. I ran around the side and ended the fight with 0 downs. Bunker world drop Sledge's shotgun, but no sham or B word. I was absolutely dripped out and ready for Angel. I sent the elevator down and went for the dunk. The only problem is I have no idea where to go, so I just rolled down the cliff. Anyways, 360 into Angel Core. When you run BL2 Fix, since there's no cutscene, you get to run around for funsies. This part of the game is pretty boring to watch, so I just wanted to show you how well the Slowhand does against the loaders. The answer is, eh. I killed the first wave of enemies and blew up the first injector. The same thing can be said for the second wave and the second injector. You know how it is, I had to double shot the last one. I turned in the mission to Roland. I don't think anything important happened. For some reason Mordecai's freaking out though. I made my way to Iridium Blight, and then was headed to Arid Nexus. Of course it wasn't that easy though. So instead I had to go to Sharktooth Pot, where there was 4 fake bad mob posers that I had to kill. The first died easily, so did the second one, The third one only died in 2 clips from my gun, which is less than a turret took. The particles that come from the Slowhand are actually insane. I don't know how my PC didn't crash. The last commander wanted to join his boys, so I took him out as well. Time for the easiest objective in the game. Sprint through here. Hit the button. Blow it up. I might have ran a little too fast, or Sal just has butter feet. I made it to the elevator and tried to kill Mortar. He's just too easy, so I ran past him. This part of the game took me longer than any boss fight I've done so far. I rode the elevator up and sent it back down because I knew I was going to die. The Slowhand is just difficult to use when you're trying to hit a flying enemy. I went down and save quit. I don't know what I thought was going to happen here. I tried to hide and just ended up dying. I was hyping myself up on the elevator. There was no way I was going to die this time. I was able to line up the first buzzer and now I have 1 out of 5 done. I ended up going down and losing my gunzerker at the worst time. It worked in my favor though, because I was able to get under the buzzard and now 2 out of 5 are done. The third one went down. It was the easiest. The fourth one decided to stand still for me, so that was easy as well. Finally, the last buzzard. By this point, I had enough practice with the Slowhand and ended the fight. It genuinely took an hour. I grabbed all the crates and jumped off before Brick was even able to notice. Now it's actually time for Arid Nexus. I turned to the mission and now it's time to data mine. Oh no, the ladder fell over. Now I need to go to the pump station. I made it to the first one. I hit the first switch and then got stuck. I ran around and hit the second one as I went down. I got the third station done. And this one was the worst out of the 3. I juked out the bots and hit the first switch. And then the second. I tried to blow up the pipe with only my car, but it only works if you're inside. I completely missed the second one. I just didn't learn my lesson from the last time. 4th time's the charm, I guess, and I broke the pipe. Huge 360 into the Badlands. Now it's Saturn time. The Slowhand was doing a decent amount of damage. I had him at about 3/4 health. I was playing it safe after he dropped and was popping out from this fence. I got a little too comfortable with these rockets hitting me and just kind of let them blow me up. No chance at a second wind. So I skipped Saturn and hit the grenade jump. I forgot to hit the elevator though. I did it. I ran back and grabbed the warrior's location. It was time for the last mission. I talked to the guy from Fortnite and shot him. I headed back to Iridium Blight. This part is boring. It's just Angel Core but outside. Oh yeah, and the difference is surveyors. I killed every enemy except for this last one. I spent all 200 bullets trying to shoot him down. So I just had to save quit and kill everything again. This time I made sure to wait for the surveyors to heal and then blow them up. I hit the stair grind rail and 360'd into Heroes Pass. I did not feel like killing the enemies. I did the first skip. I got on this crate and grenade jump. I made it over the top. And finally the last jump. It's time for Jack and the warrior now. I jump down and I'm ready for the Jack fight. The fake Jacks died in 1 or 2 bullets from the Slowhand, and it was doing a great amount of damage to them. Jack's shield was getting chipped away as well. I broke Jack's shield and tried to punch him away, but I missed. I opened my inventory and then died. I got a lucky second win off Jack's surveyor and then went right back down, but I had lots of enemies. This was my first run and the most amount of damage I did for multiple attempts. I went down and fully died this time. All of the struggle came from not being able to hit this surveyor. It was brutal. I went down and bled out again. And again. I did really good damage to Jack this run. It looked like I was about to kill him, but I ran out of ammo and my gunzerk. By the time I got around 80 bullets back, Jack was already back to 3/4 of his health. I just could not kill the surveyor. A rack flew in front of me and I blew myself up. I bled out. This is my second day of attempting the Jack fight. The clones were still easy to kill, and I was still able to shred Jack's shield easily each time. I didn't get any better at not blowing myself up though. I should not have won this fight. I just got lucky that Jack got stuck in this spot. His surveyor wasn't healing him, and I was able to just keep shooting. Once I ran around to this side, Jack ran to his computer, but he still couldn't do anything. The fight was looking like it was over. I had finally bested Jack, even though it looked like the game just glitched. After 2 hours of just this boss, I ended the fight, and Jack dropped me a shred of fire. It's time for the warrior now. I played this like a baby and just stayed where it was safe, slowly chipping its health bar. The Slowhand barely did any damage to it. You have to punch these because the Slowhand doesn't do damage, and I blew myself up. And died. The warrior was at about half health now. Also, every 2 minutes a new crystallic would come up that I would have to punch. I was getting better and better at killing these guys, except for when my melee would just miss. They also just constantly knock you back, which is annoying. I had this one so low until my gunzerk ran out and I just couldn't hit this crystal. Of course, as soon as I can hit it, it breaks and then crawls away. I died after a solid 30 minutes and was pissed. Third time's the charm, and this time I was not dying. The main problem was running out of ammo, so I'd wait for the crates to come back, plus regen during gunzerk. I couldn't do much but just wait and play it safe. I knew this was the run it was finally gonna happen. I'll just let the clip play. Finally, after about 4 hours in this arena, I had killed Jack and the warrior. I got a hellfire, which was fitting for how I felt about this run. I called the moonshot and decimated the warrior. I also got a volcano. I did the epic phase thing and ended the run. It is possible to beat Borderlands 2 with only the Slowhand. Thank you so much for watching. I put a lot of time and energy into these videos, so if you made it this far, please consider subscribing. I hate to be this guy, but only 0.2% of you who watch are subscribed. Leave a comment, I'll reply, and if I don't, I'll at least see it. And I'll see you soon.